Now, a lot of people go through a first marriage and then find out that they want to have a second marriage. It's not just teachers. But there are some things that teachers need to be aware of when they go into that second marriage that not everyone has to think about. Hi, my name is Dave Grant. I am a certified financial planner and the founder of Finance for Teachers. Now, today we're talking second marriages for teachers. The first thing that can sometimes happen is divorce can still happen in a second marriage. So before you get to that part, rewind. And before you even get married to the second spouse, rewind again. Is it wise to put a prenup in place? Now, it sounds very unromantic, but stats say that anywhere between 30 to 60% of second marriages do end in divorce. So in order to protect assets for yourself, and also for any children from a prior marriage, look at your situation and understand, should you be putting a prenuptial agreement in place? The second thing to think about. This is actually something that everyone needs to think about, but not many people do. It's all about communication with money. You know, as you went through your first marriage, no doubt you actually went through those conversations with your spouse about how to handle money as a couple. You know, everyone has different personalities with money, and when they come together, it can be a great joining of forces or it can be a big clash together. But you have to have those conversations again, all over again, every single one. So for example, what's gifting going to be like to different family members at their birthdays? Or how does each spouse feel about their inheritance and how they want to use it? Make sure you're having all those conversations again so that you're all on the same page, and that way your second marriage hopefully doesn't end up like the first. Just realized what I said on that last comment. When I said like the first, I meant a divorce. If it ended any other way, I obviously didn't mean that. But on to our third point. This is specific to teachers. You have to understand how your pension carried through from your first marriage into your second marriage. Now, depending on the state you live in and how your divorce went, you can either have an intact pension, so it's all yours, or it's going to be split when you get to the point of retirement and what your first spouse is eligible for. So understand what it's going to be when you retire. That's going to knock on effect of, well, do you need to be working more because your pension's going to be less, and so you need to work more to get a bigger pension for yourself? Or do you need to be saving more? You know, understand all the ramifications of how your first marriage, if it ended in divorce, understand how that will affect your second marriage. Now, when you get married for the second time, you'll have had all those money conversations, right? Because you knew about that other point I was talking about. But you also have to look at all the benefits your spouse has through their employer. So you want to sit down and say, okay, here's what I've got through my group plan. Here's what you've got through your group plan. Can we save money or get better coverage by either of us jumping on each other's plan and getting a family policy versus a single policy? Or does it pay to stay where we are? For some teachers, they actually get all of their benefits paid by their district. So if they're single, it's free. But should you start doing a family plan, that's when the premiums kick in. So it actually may make sense for a married person who is actually considered single by the district just to stay on their plan. If that's not the case and you're paying expensive premiums to your district, it may make sense to jump off and join your spouse's group plan. The next thing to consider and really get on the table is alimony and child support are now a staple in your life, should your first marriage have ended in divorce. So they need to become budget items. You need to understand, okay, how are we going to pay for alimony every month or whatever schedule it's on? How are we going to pay for child support? How do these two things affect our tax situation? Should we be saving in a different way because of the tax implications of that? How does our budget need to run because of these two line items, which can actually be the two largest line items you're going to cover? How does all of our lives need to change in order to make sure that all of these ticket items from the first marriage are taken care of? Now, the final thing to consider, And this is one that some people neglect because it is a little boring, it's a little tedious, but it can have dramatic effects later on in life. And that is reviewing everything that you have left to other people in your wills, your life insurance and other insurance policies, and your retirement accounts to make sure it's updated for your new change in marital status. So there have been horror stories in the media of, someone who's on their second marriage and it's been 50 years and they pass away and their spouse realizes they never updated any documents and everything goes to their prior spouse. It's not a situation you want to be in, and you really want to make sure that now you're in this new family situation, you're actually leaving things to your new family. Now the flip to that, if you do want to leave assets to your children from a prior marriage, make sure that is laid out in your estate planning documents and also on other assets you want to leave to them. Chances are if you don't spell that out, the default will be that everything goes to your new spouse. So you do have to be very deliberate when you're going into a second marriage about where these things go.